Welcome back. The St. Mary's College class of 1994 made a donation to the school on Thursday. 21 less fortunate students and their families will receive food packages. Principal of the college, Don Howell, says the school continues to care for its students despite them not being physically in the schools.
21 less fortunate students from the St. Mary's College and their families will be receiving food packages from the class of 1994. Principal of the college, Don Howell, explained that the school makes it their duty to care for the less privileged students, and now more than ever, there is a need for a helping hand to be extended.
We have ongoing a feeding program, a support program for our students who may be in need, whatever their needs are. And whether we are in school or out of school, we support our students. And given the fact that we know that some of them still face difficulties, if they were in school, we would provide them with a meal and support. Out of school, we still reach out to them in their communities to support them and even to a certain extent their household, so that our students can continue on with their studies, not having to worry too much. We are in the season of Lent, and as a Catholic school, one of the values that we teach our students is that of almsgiving. We're happy to see that the class of 94 still carrying on with the values that they would have learned while at St. Mary's College.
He explained that apart from providing food items, students are also being assisted in remaining focused as well as accessing tools for effective online schooling.
We certainly are working with them to ensure that there is connectivity, that they have devices, both teachers, students. Certainly has been a challenging time during this pandemic, and ensuring that the school and home can remain connected during this time. Certainly the program of the school continues. We continue to observe our Lenten season as a Catholic school. We will be making contributions virtually to independence, and the other activities that students engage in, we will also be engaging in as much as possible through the virtual platforms.
Howell says the school reaches out to students as often as possible.
We have other class groups who have been donating to the school, whether it be cash or kind. And so when we get those donations, what we do, we give out to our students who have been on our program. And even when we are aware, if we cannot at a particular time, but at least we are aware and we look out for them to see how best we can support our students.
He says during such difficult times, the school depends on its alma mater to support and help its alumni. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Through an ICT in Education Development project of the Taiwan Embassy, St. Lucia's education system is being transformed and adapted to a greater online education environment. The Taiwanese Embassy has been at the forefront in helping the country to foster e-learning platform adaptation and empowering teachers with capacity-building resources. A teacher's showcase was held recently to showcase what actions teachers are using to imparting knowledge to students virtually using several free online resources.
Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, teachers across St. Lucia have had to undergo tremendous transformation, rapidly adopting the use of technology in teaching, which has promised to open doors of possibilities for students. Teachers have had to integrate the necessary online digital tools, devices, and applications into their mode of instruction. Through the ICT in Education project, the Ministry of Education has sought to provide teachers with a series of capacity-building courses such as Google Classroom and Moodle, all with the help of the Taiwanese Embassy.
COVID-19 has impacted every aspect of life, including but not limited to traditional face-to-face education and classroom learning environment. In a time like this, it is imperative to empower teachers and students to reach their aspirations and goals by accelerating the transition to e-education and smart education. And we are glad to see substantial results of the ICT in Education project will be presented today by the teachers who have taken on the heavy responsibility of transforming St. Lucia's education.
Practitioners are now able to integrate pedagogy, materials, and the use of technology in their daily teaching. McGavin James is particularly pleased with the tools being learned as they were content creation tools.
I've noticed a lot of good movements towards open source materials, towards OERU materials. I've seen the changes where one person had a computer in my class and now there are 30 people, 20 people, a lot of people. Everybody has a device. What I have not really seen is this movement towards the creation of content. We have access through the internet to millions of web pages, assessments, tons of content, but we do not have any Caribbean-centric context relevant to our culture content. The only people that can do that is us. So over the last few years, I've had this movement and this thing at the back of my mind where we really need to start becoming creators of content and not consumers of content.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education thanked the teachers who participated in the showcase.
We are also aware of the many challenges that you, our teachers, our schools face. But we note the opportunities that are there before you. Thus, we are indeed delighted that you have taken advantage of this opportunity, incorporated your skills, your talents, your experiences to support the development of your various schools.
The Teachers' Showcase was held on Tuesday, February 16th. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
The umbrella organization, which represents private early childhood educators in St. Lucia, will be seeking an audience with the Minister of Education, the Chief Education Officer, and Education Officer for Early Childhood Services. This is in an effort to chart the way forward for the survival of the sector. According to the National Association of Early Childhood Practitioners, the early childhood sector has been among the hardest hit sectors due to repeated school closures during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Early childhood practitioners are calling on education officials to listen to the plight of their members as they have been suffering throughout the pandemic. Early childhood practitioners, like all other educational institutions, have been physically closed for a substantial length of time. But unlike government institutions, those employed within a private practice say they have been feeling the pinch even more, and the psychological and emotional strain has been severe. The organization's treasurer says practitioners are in dire need.
The centers have been closed for almost 12 calendar months. And the financial strain on administrators is almost unbearable. The majority of those centers are housed in private property. And with no income, the rent continues to climb. How are these people to pay those backlog of monies? How?
David says that while members continue to abide by the protocols, they believe that the sector is falling apart.
Where it is mentioned that government has put in place some form of help through the Development Bank for loan acquisition, one must also understand that those people have existing mortgages to pay. And with no income, how are they to pay off their mortgages and the loan? Even if the payment of the loan is put forward 6 months from now. The situation is very uncertain. From March to September, school reopened in September, October we were closed, then we reopened in January and we were closed. There is no sure way of putting into effect a financial plan that would be able to meet the coverage of loans and mortgages.
The NAECP wants the opportunity to open as a means of generating some kind of finance to assist staff and maintain their businesses.
The Prime Minister has asked for small businesses to open. We fall under small business also. Why can't we open? You can ask us to have stricter protocols. You can tell us, give us 3 days a week, give us half day. We can understand that. But we need to have some form of income to sustain our business. We have our loans to pay. Most of our businesses are in rented buildings. We have a backlog of rent to pay. We have our bills to pay. Our staff are at home. Parents are now back at work. The children are home. Our schools are closed. Please, Mr. Prime Minister, allow us to open our schools.
The NAECP says it will continue to stand in solidarity with its membership throughout these trying times. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with the broadcast because after the break, we have the latest weather updates.